Show 1 of Epileptic Gaming. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is djWHEAT, and this is Epileptic Gaming here on TSN, our first broadcast. And I'm ready to have a good time. I hope that you're here to have a good time. We're kind of changing, the topics that normally you'd hear when you tune into djWHEAT. This is an all-console, all-arcade, all video game industry show. We discuss it all, and we try to discuss the things that are really prominent in the status quo. Now, I know that many of you have been wondering who is djWHEAT's special guest that he's been pimping out. Well, folks, you mentioned him in the channel, and you are right. It is John Carmack. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Wheat. I really appreciate you putting me on the air. I mean, with Doom 3 and all, I've had to take a break from just typing all that stuff. Normally, people wouldn't think I would need a break, but yeah. Slashdot, all that kind of stuff. I'm just here to just ramble about games that I enjoy. So let's get to it, man. Come on.
Hey, but guess what? Guess what? John Carmack isn't really John Carmack. John Carmack is Pepsi Twist. Oh no, actually, John Carmack, who are you for real?
It's Grayscale, man. It's just KSC Grayscale, and you totally just busted the Pepsi Twist. You're not supposed to tell them about our Pepsi contract.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm really not the Osborne kids. I'm really the Osmond. It's Grayscale, ladies and gentlemen. KFC Grayscale. You might remember him. He runs the Spider Fracture. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
The Spider Fracture site, and we kind of hooked up when he had asked to do an interview with me, and we said, hey, we both have this kind of unkindled passion for video games. We should do something about this. Well, sleeping with one another was one option, but the other option was, hey, why don't we go on a show and do something about it? So I'm excited to be here. First show. What do you think?
Man, I'm totally amped about it. Like, after you were done, like, fondling me, like, oh my god, your console skills are so great, and I put your hands down, and we got down to business, everything was just like, it was smooth sailing from there. So yeah, I'm really glad to be on the air with you. I'm really excited about the show. What are we going to talk about tonight, Wheat?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with the news and go right into our review. And we'll tell you what that game's going to be coming up soon. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale. Welcome to Show 1 of Epileptic Gaming, the Super Mario Brothers show, identified by the Super Mario Brothers theme at the very beginning. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Don't go away.
The following is a paid public service announcement from the Parents Against Elite Hackers Foundation.
Billy and I used to play. Yeah, we used to play a lot. Because Billy was my friend. And one day, Billy and I were playing. Billy was shot through a wall.
Please, don't let lead hackers affect your life. If you know or are someone that needs help, please do the right thing.
Freud's primal part of the human psyche, and one of the hottest game shops on Earth, has been rocking the gaming world from Mesquite, Texas since 1991. As a renowned leader in the industry, id Software forged such frenetic titles as Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Doom 2, Quake, and Quake 2. With intense graphics and mind-blowing action, its games have helped redefine the modern video game, continuously setting industry standards for technology and gameplay. And in keeping with tradition, id Software has amplified the world of adrenaline-pumping 3D gaming with the release of their latest action titles, Quake 3 Arena, Quake 3 Team Arena, and the executive production of Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Id's advanced Doom 3 engine is leading the next revolution in 3D interactive games. Check out more about id Software at www.idsoftware.com.
Hello, girls and boys.
Let's see. We've been gaming first, and we do call the shots. And not to mention that we are your source for the esports revolution. And yes, we even bring on to life.
However, we are not some overrated 13-year-old script kiddie tossing out F-bombs every 2 seconds, pranking the local donut shop thinking we pwn.
Thank you for calling Dunkin' Donuts. This is Jim. How may I help you?
You sell donuts. You're fat.
We are TSN, the Team Sportscast Network. You know who we are. You know what we do. Okay? Good game. Thanks. Bye.
This is Epileptic Gaming with djWHEAT and Grayscale. Live on TSN.
What's up, folks? We are back. Grayscale is with me. If you've just tuned in to Epileptic Gaming, the secret mystery host has been revealed, and it is not John Carmack, it is not Pepsi Twist, it is Grayscale. Grayscale, why don't you give a shout to the listeners since we didn't get hardly any time before?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, this is me, and I love the one thing that I loved was the reaction, like, who is this? You guys are gonna grow to love me, or you're gonna grow to hate me.
They were, they were probably like expecting fatality or something. Like, oh yeah, it's 0-4. If you were like, it's Grayscale. If you,
it's 0-4 while he's in the middle of ESO. Yeah, I'm just busting somebody up in the middle of the tournament, and I have time to cast at the same time. How's it going, gentlemen?
Well, I think some people were surprised, but I think some people kind of had a guess there. We dropped some clues here and there, but, that's how it goes. So, Epileptic Gaming, let us tell you a little bit about what it is, what it's all about. Basically, a show dedicated to console, arcades, and the video game industry. It's going to be a regular show here every week on TSN when we're not covering a major tournament or going to any live events. And basically we want to bring reviews and we want to bring a real gamer's opinion to the table. I mean, you read some of these websites and you just say to yourself, this is just off the factory crap. Did they even play this game? Well, I can assure you that we're giving you the real deal, and we're going to be serious about our reviews, about the news, about everything that we bring to you. Now, I just want to give one bit of information out to all the listeners. We opened the show with Super Mario Brothers, and we talked about it for a long time, and we said, we should have some sort of way of identifying our shows, so if we ever need to say, we did a review of X game during the Metroid show, then people can go back to the page, download the Metroid show, and they'll be able to find the review they want. So we started this one off with Super Mario Brothers. We were kind of thinking, this, since it's our first show, maybe we can come up with something a little bit, something first, like PlayStation or something, but I think we both kind of settled on Super Mario Brothers to start that out, just because it kind of was the dropping of the bomb on the American audience in terms of what Nintendo was doing. So we're gonna start off with the news first. The news, we don't have, folks, we also call this Epileptic Gaming Alpha. You want to tell them why?
Because this cast is about as ghetto as it gets. We're prepared, but we're still a work in progress. So, but we're at a point where it's just runnable. That's why we're at alpha. Maybe next week we'll be beta. Maybe we'll even go retail. Or maybe we'll just be vaporware.
Epileptic
but
Gaming.
More on that later.
No. Epileptic Gaming goes gold. Yeah, folks. We've been preparing for this, and we've just been trying to nail our sounder selection and whatnot. So we decided, hey, let's go for it. Let's see what the people like, and let's see what we can go with. So that's where we're at. We'll have our sounders. Hey, let's go to the news. The first item on the news list today is called The Sims Online Goals Set Too High. And I'm going to go ahead and read this quote from the article. In retrospect, we allowed ourselves to become more optimistic than we should have been, EA President John S. Risolito said. Even with broad media exposure, The Sims Online sold 105,000 copies, or only about a quarter of the initial shipment in December. Since then, 82,000 users have registered to play the game for the 30-day trial. Of those, only 40,000 have run out of free time and are paying the monthly fee. The article source will have that for you later, but basically my initial comments on it are The Sims Online. I had a chance to play it, and I played it during the beta, and, you know, I really had what I like to call the intense 7. Those 7 days of playing your first, the MMORPG for the first time. You know, the 7 days of, oh, look at how quick I can gain levels and look at how quick I can do all this stuff. There's really a sort of appeal to that. But then after the 7 days, it starts to wear off a little bit. And I thought after that, it just got monotonous and annoying. I'm not surprised that the game isn't doing quite as well as it is. Grayscale, do you know how much money they've actually lost on this? I think I've read the numbers. I don't quite remember what they would be, though.
I don't have the figures offhand, but I know they've lost quite a bit. Even with the deals that they've signed with McDonald's and Intel, right now things aren't looking too good. But I mean, it's a massively multiplayer online game. You know, just because it has a humongous user base, it's still a weird dynamic to put that kind of game, which is basically a virtual pet for your computer, in an online form. So what it just boils down to is it just turns into over-glorified chat room.
Okay.
However,
oh, go ahead.
I am the biggest sucker ever because I am still playing this game, and I have no shame in saying it. So.
But why? I mean,
me.
What is drawing you to this game?
Well, for me, it's just like more of the more of the social and business aspect of it, because what I do with the game is if I were just stuck just trying to make money and make my house look better, then I would have quit the game a long time ago. But what I'm doing is, because it's like they are giving you a sandbox, and I'm just taking the sandbox that they gave me, and I'm just doing whatever I want with it, making up my own games and making up ways for me to make money. So I'm just thinking outside of the box. And you know, some people respond to it properly, others don't. But I'm having fun with it for what I'm, for what I'm doing.
All right. Well, Sims Online, we'll check into that at another time to see if they're still losing money and if they, just go out of business. One final comment before we leave this news article, and that is, you know what, EA? I'm glad that you're eating it because you canceled Ultima Online 2, you sons of bitches. And there you go. I'm going to leave it at that. Why don't we go on to the next news item?
Okay, well, there's more problem. Well, it's not so much of a problem, but it is, something very notable. Square and EA, their contract is now under negotiation for this year. Quoting from the article source, Electronic Arts is currently in the process of renegotiating its contract with Square, seeing as how Square has now merged with Enix, and Sony Computer Entertainment owns a substantial chunk of Square itself. It's a funky kind of mess, to be honest, but the result is probably going to be a new deal structured on a title-by-title basis, instead of its current publishing deal, which gives Square some publishing power of EA's titles in Japan, and EA a strong publishing partnership with Square in North America. Now, whenever I heard about the Square-EA merger, I was completely excited because there was a lot of games that Square was trying to bring across, but they didn't have any backing for it, and EA provided that backing. However, going into 2003, we have 4 companies trying to figure out who's going to get what and what's going to be put out, and it's just like too many chiefs, not enough Indians. There has to be, someone has to kind of lay low, and they're not going to because they're all just trying to become, be a successful business.
Right.
So what I'm hoping is things kind of stay the same, even though I know they're not going to, but we won't know until
the deal gets signed.
Right. On what's going on. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I am not a huge fan of EA. They canceled one of my most anticipated games of all time, and that was Ultima Online 2. And still to this day, I have dreams of that game coming out, and that really disturbs me because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to shake those. I'm going to be waking up and, Ultima 2 is out! Oh, wait, I just woke up. It really sucks. But EA, you know, they do have some pretty large publishing power, and there are some games out there that they release that I enjoy. But honestly, I would not give a rat's ass if they got the ass end of the deal on this one. I would not care at all. So, you know, what are you going to do? I guess you're right. We're just going to have to see when the pen is signed and something's out on the table and set in stone. So, all right, let's move on to the next news item. Folks, I'm a big fan of the Dreamcast, personally. I never really stopped playing it even after it died, and every now and then I still fire up a few games from the system. I know it wasn't hugely popular, but one of the games that was Space Channel 5 for the Dreamcast. And Grayscale and I recently have been talking about the release of Space Channel 5 for the Game Boy Advanced. And, well, we kind of had a little argument. Well, not so much an argument, but we were kind of like, you know, how in the hell are they going to be able to put the music on a Game Boy Advance cart? Well, I have downloaded the movie, and we'll have this source available for you later. And I'm just going to play it here a little bit so you can get an idea of what the sound actually is like. It's very, very good, I think, and it could be the next step in, you know, Game Boy Advance audio, which is just amazing because you think about Castlevania and all the crap it's got about its audio. But here we go, Space Channel 5 for the Game Boy Advance. Just a quick clip for you here so you can get an idea. This is video, but the music is kind of what, the graphics suck, so the music's kind of what we're after. Here we go. Up, right, left, down, chew, chew, chew. So there you go. There's there's your sample of Space Channel 5 for the Game Boy Advance. You know, it's got that the little twinginess to it, but it sounds better than I've ever heard on the Game Boy Advance. You listened to it earlier, Grayscale. What do you think?
I had to pick my jaw up off the floor after I listened to it because I was seriously shocked. I was really, really pessimistic about it, even though it was basically a wait and see thing. That speaker on that Game Boy Advance is no music producer, and after hearing that, I felt comfortable in actually thinking that game's going to be translated okay. So I'm really, really looking forward to whenever that drops, and
right,
whenever I get to actually have it in my hands and play it.
Because here's one thing to think about. This is one level. So, for all we know, it's the same music through the entire game. But I'm going to hope that they're actually going to switch it up a little bit, and they're going to try to capture as much as they can from the Dreamcast.
If it's the same music, it can't be. If it really, really is, even though I kind of doubt it, but I wouldn't put it past them.
It could happen.
I'll buy a Game Boy Advance to throw at a wall if I have to. But
flush it down. Not the new one, though, which we'll be talking about probably.
Well, no, not the SP.
Show.
I'll just buy another one. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next news article. Why don't you take it away?
Okay, well, we have to bring it up because the damn thing exists. The Xbox.
Oh my God, no!
Now, Microsoft. Shut up, Weed. Calm the hell down, you fanboy. Anyway, Microsoft and Nvidia have been having a lot of problems trying to hammer out a contract for what they're going to get for their chips and whatnot. And now they finally kissed and made up, and that issue is pretty much over. A quote from the article: "This is a win for both companies, and we couldn't be more delighted with the results." Quote, Jen Sun Huang. I'm going to get so beat up by that guy. NVIDIA CEO and president. NVIDIA and Microsoft can now take our partnership to the next level and focus our substantial resources to maximize the full potential of Xbox game console. The problem is not the hardware, you monkeys. The problem is with the software.
Thank you.
Amen.
All
the titles that have come out for that console just blow. There's nothing, in my opinion, that's redeeming about that thing at all. And I'm not even talking about it from a sense of me being some Japanese fanboy, like, oh, I need my dating sims and a bunch of other stuff. No, there's nothing fun on there. I can maybe count the amount of fun titles that I have with 2 hands if they're lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm not even counting Halo, because Halo is just another first-person shooter. But oh boy, those console people, they sure love those things, don't they? But until they actually do something innovative with the Xbox, they can sign as many contracts as they want about software, and Microsoft can keep losing millions and millions of dollars on it for all I care. Just release something decent. I've just got
2 letters and a number for Microsoft. Are you ready? PS3. All right. I don't think, the Xbox, this is great and everything, NVIDIA, blah, 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 but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe their little negotiations was the reason the GeForce FX took so damn long to get out.
Oh.
So,
I bet you Bill Gates is crying right now.
Well,
my freaking Xbox.
Dude, I would not be surprised. I know that Bill Gates owns a PlayStation. I mean, he owns a freaking PlayStation. Bill Gates does not own an Xbox because Bill Gates knows what's good and what isn't. I mean, regardless of the fact that he's a pompous dookie, it doesn't matter. Bill Gates owns a PlayStation.
Bill Gates is a closet hater. Like, I hate my system. Oh my God! How funny would that be to see some purple thing sticking out of his pocket? Like, Bill, what is that? No, nothing. I'm working on the next prototype for our handheld.
Portable handheld. Why is it purple like Nintendo's? Oh, it's just mockery. Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
It's my daughter's, man. Anyway.
I took it away from her this afternoon. She'll get it at the end of the semester. All right. That's the news for you here on Epileptic Gaming. If you just tuned in, this is djWHEAT and Grayscale. You've joined us here on Epileptic Gaming, TSN's first console, arcade, and video game industry show. And you know what? I think it's time for our review. Folks, I'm going to take a little bit of music to bring you into the review. This is from the opening, and let's see if you can figure it out first. I wonder if anyone knows. I wonder if anyone knows. I don't know, folks. This is Epileptic Gaming's first review, and the game in question, the game on the stand, is Devil May Cry 2. That's right, that music comes from the opening cinema of Devil May Cry 2. A title recently released for the PlayStation 2 from Capcom. And any other background information? Do you know how long it took them to get this game out? Because I'm thinking that I played Devil May Cry, the first one, at the beginning of 2002.
I honestly can't remember. I think because I came into the whole Devil May Cry scene late. I bought it as a greatest hit. In preparation for Devil May Cry 2, ironically. But, yeah, I don't want to get into the rant now. If I get into the rant now, I'm not going to stop. So if you have any comments, go.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I just go ahead and start this review out? Devil May Cry 2. We both decided this would be the game to be released, and it was actually pretty funny because when we were deciding our game, I think that we had expected Devil May Cry 2 to come out later than it actually did. So I was looking at the websites. I go, what the hell? It comes out, in 2 days. We should just do this. So we agreed to it, thinking that it was going to be great. And I'll tell you, I read 3 bad reviews before I even got a chance to play it. I'm going to give you my synopsis here of Devil May Cry 2. And we wrote this earlier. It's going to go up on our rap sheet, which we'll be talking about later on in the show. But anyway, djWHEAT's review, Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry, what an ironic title for this game. Why, you ask? Because the devil might actually cry after playing this worthless pile of garbage. It's stripped of its difficulty and only driven by its impressive graphics and stellar superhero. Devil May Cry is not the game that people expected it to be. I enjoyed playing the super badass Dante again, but felt like I never had any direction or story to drive me. The game is also laughably easy and offers a challenge only to a novice player. I would give this title a rent and score it about 4 out of 10. Now, Grayscale, I don't know if you want to give your synopsis or you want me to go into the breakdown of what I thought about this game. It's up to you.
You go ahead and go into your breakdown because...
we got some rage. Space. We got some rage built up, and you're going to find this interesting because I think maybe you scored it higher than I did, but you want to rage more. All right, I broke this.
Yeah. I need a vent so I feel better about the score I gave it. So
okay. All right. Well, here are the breakdowns of what I thought about this game. Devil May Cry. I decided I'm going to break this down into 5 things that I absolutely love about the game, and then 5 things that I absolutely just could not stand about the game. First of all, and the number one reason why I would even touch the game is because the character of Dante is a badass. I mean, in every way, shape, and form, with his swords, with his guns, with his looks, with his vehicles. I mean, in every way, shape, and form, he turns into a giant devil that kicks ass. I mean, Dante is probably one of the top 5 superheroes or video game heroes on my list. The second thing I liked about this was its weapon selection. I just, it did differ a little bit from the first one, but it is nice to have the quick weapon switch. And I was mentioning to you earlier that I wish they had a quick sword switch, and you were like, well, why? And I kind of think there might be some speed differences, but it was just a nice little change. Third thing I loved about this game, the secret rooms. It was a great option. If you played the first one, it was basically you find all these various secret rooms. You get red orbs, which basically you would use to power up Dante with special moves, new weapons, new items, things like that. But basically they put you up against various patterns of bad guys, of bosses, and you just fought your way through, and if you defeated it, you got the secret room. Now, I don't know if you unlock anything if you get all the secret rooms. Do you know?
I wasn't able to find all the secret rooms. I found enough, but I didn't find anything that was like of note for me to get something neat out of it. So I honestly don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it's just a nice. It's a break from gameplay, I think. You just beat ass, as quickly as you can.
Basically.
All right. The next thing I liked is the boss models. I'm going to talk a little bit more about bosses down in the things that I hate, but I did say that the boss models were quite nice in this game. I thought they were well done. They weren't scary, but they were kind of creepy, and that whole they went along the lines of the theme of Devil May Cry. They really just stood out among all the bland monsters and creatures that there were scattered among the game. And the last thing that I love is walking and running on walls. And obviously, I mean, who wouldn't want to just be able to run up a wall? Now, Grayscale, you have any comments here on the 5 things that I love, or you just want me to go on to the things that I hate?
Just keep on going, brother. I gotta.
All right,
yeah,
I think the rage is building. They always tell you, don't keep it inside, let it go. But I think you're just channeling the negative energy.
Yeah, I've been channeling it because every time I've been talking to you this week, you're like, dude, don't say anything yet. You gotta wait till Sunday.
I know.
Dude, don't say anything yet. And every day it just got worse.
We do not talk about our reviews because, well, quite frankly, it's more fun not to. So here we go. The 5 things that I hate about Devil May Cry actually turned into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that I hate about Devil May Cry 2. Isn't that nice? You know you're in trouble when you got more things that I hate on djWHEAT's list than you have things that I like. All right, number 1, the maps suck. Okay, I don't know if you ever used the sub maps, but the maps they blow. I mean, you turn it on, it's like an outline of the map, but there's no status pointer showing where you are. There's no, you need to go here, and I don't expect the game to give me an auto map to to hold my hand throughout the entire game, but I'm thinking, well, if you're going to include one, the least you could do is put like an ID pointer on the friggin' thing so I can tell where I am, and that's gonna take me on to my next point, which is the fixed camera views, the brightness, and the disorientation. Because I get better visibility looking through a brick wall than I do in this game. I mean, seriously, it was so bad. And the thing was, the camera would the fixed angle would switch, and then I would actually be running a different direction than what I thought, and that's why I was like, oh, well, I'll query my mini-map. Well, guess what? There's not jack for information on there, so it doesn't really matter anyway. All right, the next thing. They took out almost everything that was cool about Devil May Cry 1. I mean, it was more difficult. You could do like aerial sword moves. It was better. It was so much better. The story was better. You had a mysterious other character. I mean, and no, I'm not going to get on the story yet. We're going to go on here. The bosses are laughably easy. Okay, I've got a few more I'll go more into detail down here. The bosses are laughably easy. The story sucks more than an old school ABC hit Full House. I mean, Bob Saget would make this game better.
Christ, Wheat, calm the hell down.
No, hold on.
Slow down. Oh.
The cutscenes don't really make sense. There's really no motivation for Dante. I mean, in the first one, you had Trish, and you had the secret behind Trish, and, you had the whole saving Trish, and it just had substance to it. And this thing it's just like an empty jar. Okay, next. Walking and running on walls, but you're like djWHEAT, you had it on your things you liked. Well, I did like that until I found out that it was absolutely worthless, that never did you really have to run up a wall or jump off of a wall. I mean, you could double jump in the game, so it's not going to gain you any extra height or anything like that. So it quickly turned into something I hate because it sucks, it's worthless. The music is just blah. I mean, there's nothing special about it. It doesn't really give you that intense action feeling. There's little variation in the monsters and creatures. I just found it to be incredibly like, Arrow Mage, and he was blue. Fire Mage, and he was red, and it's like the same model. I mean, like, come on, you could have taken the models from the first game, just slapped them in, reskinned them, and you could have called it good. I would have been happy seeing some old bosses, but instead we get these dumbass monkey things that are on fire and crawl on the walls. This game, what? The game is incredibly easy. And to end off my list, the AI is about as good as the Goombas in Super Mario Brothers. I mean, there were so many times where I would be fighting monsters, and they would seriously just be like sitting in the corner. Like, hey, what's up? Oh, that sword feels good slicing through my back. I mean, what in the hell? It's ridiculous. Okay, before I let you go, and I got to be quick here because I'm taking up your time just by a minute. I've got 2 awards for this game, okay? The dumbest puzzle award, okay? You have to hit those 3 rocks and get that healing heartstone. And the deal is like each of these stones take like 20 to 25 hits to destroy. And then they respawn. And this force field only drops when all 3 stones are destroyed. So basically, you're sitting here beating on these stones. It takes forever. Oh, one breaks, and you get it. And there was too many times where I was running to get the healing stone, and the friggin' force field just closes right in front of me. The dumbest puzzle award. That is absolutely the worst puzzle I have ever seen. I mean, my cat could have solved it. Maybe, just whatever. All right, and the second thing is the worst boss award. Okay, and I'm gonna remind you. There's a boss in this game, and his name's Plutinian. Okay, he's a 2-headed monster who wields these dual maces, one on each hand. Right? Okay, you fight this guy in this huge arena, and his maces go about. If you imagine the arenas of the length of a football field. The mace go about 20 feet, 20 yards. So you can sit on the other side of the arena that you're fighting in, select your rocket launcher and just shoot. Just hold down the button. You know, you don't got to move. You don't have to use your evade or your sword or anything like that. You just hold down that good old missile launcher button, and in about 30 seconds, that boss will be dead. Okay, was the challenge sitting through it, or was the challenge, actually trying to defeat the boss? I don't get it. There were several other boss battles really bad and really easy, but that one was absolutely terrible. I mean, I haven't fought an easier boss battle since, Flame Man on Mega Man, when you just shoot him, once with that freeze ray. All right. So, Devil May Cry, I give it a 4 out of 10. Folks, go rent it. But I didn't think it was all that, and I was really disappointed that they killed my, one of my favorite superheroes. Well, didn't they? I don't mean they killed him. No, oh my God, spoilers. No, they just, he's still badass. It's just the game sucks. So it's no recognition for him. So, take it away, Chief.
All right. I'm gonna read my overview, and then I'm just gonna go. Alright. I really like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I especially love it when my mom cuts the crusts off and then gives me applesauce with it. But the sandwich, the applesauce, and the glass of milk could not repair the pain and disappointment I experienced with this game. While there were some cool gimmicks in the game, like the ability to unlock Trish from Devil May Cry 1 and actually run around with her in the game. For the most part, the game is just a watered-down version of the original that prays that fanboys will be blind to its lack of story and lack of difficulty. Also, I'll get into this later. Since when do demon hunters wear diesel clothing with scarves? Best rental title
Since
ever.
Devil May Cry 2.
I think... whatever, man. I think Blockbuster sponsored this game because it's just like a race to see how much you can do in a week, and I gave it a 6. Now. Okay, now.
Oh my God, you're
now I'm
so
gonna get
funny.
Now I'm gonna get into this. Okay. When I first picked up the game and I actually put it in, if I had to give a separate review, I give the intro movie an 8 out of 10 because that intro movie was badass.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm just like, wow, maybe these reviewers are just being a bunch of pompous assholes. And F-bomb.
Whoa, dude, you're fired.
F-bombs. Yes, F-bombs raining. You see what this game is doing to me. So I start the game up and I start playing, and I noticed the thing that you were telling me about how the AI really had no intelligence whatsoever. They just kind of just stood there. They were like,
yeah, they didn't do
swing
anything.
your sword. No. But I'll explain later. There's a lot of things I have to get into, so I'm just going to go into first impressions and then go into things later on. So the game I found really easy. The camera angles that you had mentioned before, I had a lot of problems with. If they offered, and now this is kind of a little bit of a skewed thought process for it. If they offered a 16:9 aspect ratio view for that game, I think the camera angles will not have been as much of a problem, and here's why. Because they do a lot of fisheye lens camera angles, where it's like you notice that they're not really stretching the landscape, but they're just changing the way that the scene is actually rendered. And it makes everything really pinched. If they, if they had made it so that you get more of like a panoramic view of what was going on, I think people would have more appreciated what was trying to be shown. The levels were generic. There was basically Capcom was like, okay, let's just take random letters of the alphabet, throw it on a piece of paper, and wherever they land, that's how we're going to build the city. So it's just like, okay, we have an A here and a U over here.
Yeah,
okay, we'll put a door right here, then we'll put an O. I mean, there was really no design process for what was going on with these levels. The bosses, like you said, were laughably easy. And I wouldn't mind the bosses being so laughably easy if there was a storyline to try to follow that would keep you interested.
Oh God!
There was nothing that kept me interested to want to keep just playing. I just kept playing because I had to review the thing, and it's kind of sad to see that whenever yeah. Oh my God. So then the storyline fell flat, and then the game goes along. It's a lot of the same repetitive stuff. But then I started looking for the secret rooms, and then that's whenever I started trying to find some fun with the game. I started inventing things to do with it, like trying to find all the secret rooms, trying to keep my combo up, because I think what Capcom was trying to attempt, and they did capture it, but I don't think they should have done it the way they did, was the first one, there was a lot, you did get style points like you do in this one, but it wasn't that much of a focus. In this one, the focus on style points is ridiculous. That's why the bosses are so easy, and you can keep your combo from shooting just shooting the enemies. You weren't able to do that in Devil May Cry 1. So all it was just shoot, 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 roll, toss in the air, toss in the air, juggle, toss in the air, juggle, shoot, 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 roll, toss in the air, juggle. It was basically a race to see how long you could keep an S up. And for style points, that's fine. You could even do that with bosses, and the ability to be able to do that so easily with bosses, I didn't find that fun, because it was just like push, 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 roll, push, 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 roll, push, 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 roll. It was just so repetitive and annoying. And then, when I beat the game, and it only took me 3.5 hours to do it on the Dante disc.
Nice.
I beat the game. I didn't even know I beat the game. That's the funny part. I look at the screen.
I know what you mean.
It says save data. It says save data, and then it says mission results. And I'm like, mission results? That mission wasn't that hard that I had to get results. So I pushed mission results, and it shows all the previous results from all the missions I had done before. And I took my controller, and I threw it. I'm like, this is not it. This can't be it. Because it really leaves it open for a number 3, the way they ended it like that. And I think that's what's going to happen, and I hope that they take into account all the mistakes they've made with this one before they make 3, because I don't want to throw another controller to have to end up breaking it, because that would be bad.
All right.
So,
My turn. I got something to add here.
Go ahead.
For those of you, I think that's the first time I've said it. My turn, basically a little method that we use to get each other's attention. Kind of like when you were younger and someone was hogging the Super Nintendo too long. Well, you said my turn, and that's where that originated from. Anyway, what do you think? In the first one, I was almost convinced that you could do aerial sword combos. Can you remember?
You can do them, but they were hard to maintain. Like it was an art to actually do those things. Now, to elaborate on that, they had that in Devil May Cry 2 somewhat, but it was a really funky system how they did it. You had to jump in the air twice, then start shooting to keep yourself in the air, because you noticed that whenever you were shooting in the air, there was a lot of hang time while you were pumping the bullets. Then you would press the sword button, and your Dante would literally lunge at the person and try to do something with the sword, and it would be like a 1-2, then throw him to the floor.
Right.
But
I miss the ones you just popped up in the air and then you jumped up right after him and then you slash gun. And I felt like I couldn't do jack in this one compared to what I was doing in the first one.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. There was a lot of the first one was hard. I remember whenever I first put it in, and I felt like such a noob because I kept on dying in the first stage. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And in the second one, it's a lot easier to push out bullets. In the first one, you had to pound the heck out of the controller, then throw them, then pound it again, then jump in the air. It was really, really busy. It kept your fingers, going crazy. But the second one, it was just okay, everything's coming out. Push, wait, push, wait, push, wait, push, wait. It was almost like playing a bad fighting game.
Oh yeah,
really,
Yeah, it's bad. It was bad. Well.
Yeah.
Are you done? Because I don't want to talk about this game anymore. Let's do a couple of our planned mini reviews. We got about 15 minutes left until our next commercial break. So let me talk a little bit about SimCity 4. And I'll talk for a little bit, and then you can talk about the other game that was in question. Are you ready to do that? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Well, I'll tell you what. SimCity 4 just came out for the PC a little bit ago by EA. Crans. What? I don't mean to change the subject here, but what's up with challenge everything? What's up with that? Because I liked EA. It's in the game. Even if it wasn't, even if it wasn't a sports title, I'd challenge everything. Yeah, well, I'm going to challenge the fact whether or not I'm going to buy your damn games. Anyway, SimCity 4. I haven't played a SimCity game since my 8088. I mean, SimCity 1, CGA, you were limited to, like, 9x9 or 2x2 or 1x1 tiles. It was just ridiculously easy. There was hardly any options. I mean, basically, you could, like, there were ways to just cheat your way through. And I just played it so much that I got sick of it. And I saw a picture of SimCity 4. I was like, that's looking pretty pimp. Plus, I really like the layout of the Sim games. I haven't played them too much with the exception of Sims Online. So it's like, I'm going to give this one a shot. And my girlfriend, Jade, she said I'd definitely like to check that out. So we got it, and we started playing it. And I got captured about my 6th hour in. And I'll tell you what, I was about to give that son of a gun up. I was playing it, and I kept just losing interest in it because I couldn't get a successful city. I was like, okay, I'll do this. Setting your agriculture away from the city so you don't get water pollution and just all sorts of crazy stuff. And it took me about 6 hours to realize, oh, okay, I sort of got a knack on this, but everything in the city is pretty much customizable to you. I mean, it is the ultimate Sim City. You can do the power, the water, the garbage, of course, all of the city, like hospitals, schools, all of that stuff. The only thing I can't really seem to shake off is why people don't do certain things. Like, I've got all these commercial areas, yet all of these people are saying they don't have jobs. Why do I have a lazy city, and how can I change that? Because no matter what I do, my people always lose their jobs, or they're lazy or whatever, and I can't figure it out. But I absolutely adore the game. I think it is a lot of micromanaging, and it does get annoying at times. But it's just kind of nice to see that message pop up. You've got 5,000 people. How do you feel today? It's like, I feel great. I've got 5,000 people. And they give you rewards for meeting certain requirements, like, 5,000 people, so many farms, here's a farmer's market, it increases health in your cities, which means you don't have to pay as much on your where was I going with there? You don't have to pay as much on your hospitals, things like that. Another funny thing about the game is that if you start to run out of money, you'll automatically start getting these deals from, like, the government and stuff. And I was having a late night SimCity 4 little ditty with my girlfriend, and we're sitting here both intently playing. I'm watching my population go up, and occasionally I would check with Jen to see how she was doing, and I'm like, so how are you doing? Because she was like $700 in the hole every month, and she was losing mad cash. And she's like, I'm making profit. And I go, what? How did you do that? What's your secret there, Mayor Rudy? And she goes, well, the government came to me and said, you can build this missile base in your city, and we'll give you $600 a month. So she had this missile base in her city, and apparently there's like tests every month, so you have to put it away from your city and make sure that it doesn't. Hopefully, a stray missile doesn't smack Smallville or whatever other city you're dealing with. But it really is a very cool game. I've had a lot of good time with it. Now, you haven't played it yet, have you? But have you played any other SimCities?
No, I haven't. I played all the SimCities prior to this one, starting from like the old school shareware one all the way up to SimCity 3000. I just haven't got around to playing 4. I want to play it, but I just haven't picked it up yet. But from what you said, I think I'm gonna have to speed up my procrastination and get the game and try it out for myself.
It definitely captures some time. Now, I want to mention Justice P just chimed in and told me what I needed to do. So thank you, Justice. But I have to embarrassingly, is that even a word? Basically, I just have to admit, and I'm embarrassed admitting this, but I actually bought the Primus strategy guide for SimCity 4. That's right. I'm sorry, people. I actually bought the strategy guide simply because I didn't have a manual. Oh, did I say that on the air? And so I needed something to reference to. No, I mean, seriously, I am not a huge fan of strategy guides. I mean, I hate it when I'm like, here's your copy of Kingdom Hearts. Would you like a previous strategy guide for this? And I'm like, sure, www.gamefaqs.com. You know, it's like, go to hell. I'm not going to spend 14. But this is a little bit more in-depth game, so I didn't feel so bad. Plus, the thing is like a novel, and it's like $15. So I think I got my bang for the buck. But, yeah, normally gamefaqs.com, my source for the where the hell do I go next information. So, there you go, SimCity 4, a quick look. Grayscale, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Alright, and I'm going right back to the console world, and I'm covering Shinobi for the PlayStation 2. Now, before I get into the game, I think the marketing scheme that they did for this was the best ever, because they got the most Asian guy playing the old school Shinobi, and then they just bust out the ninja stars, and he just turns around and he goes, "Shinobi's back!" And I laughed so hard that I had to go out and get the game. So, kudos to Sega for actually putting some humor behind it.
Absolutely.
And they got me really, really good. So, Shinobi for the PlayStation 2. I was very, very pleased with that game just in general. The storyline was good. The levels were alright. They were kind of generic, and the colors got kind of tiring to look at because it was a very, very... It was a very dark game, like had a lot of dark undertones in it and whatnot. But that's more of like a little bit of a complaint more than it is a gameplay flaw. The controls were fine. I thought everything handled out well. The stylizing of the game was neat because there's points in the game where you'll reach like a certain amount of enemies on the floor, and depending if you get them all killed, the camera will pan out and it'll give you like some widescreen look. You'll see him put his sword back into his back, and then like all the bodies just split apart from each other. So I thought that little things like that kept the game interesting. It gets monotonous
cool.
later on, but
that is definitely
cool. It was neat to see.
Yeah.
What other things? One thing I definitely did appreciate, and this is more of a Japanese fanboy kind of thing. The fact that they left the original Japanese voiceovers and let me put English subtitles on them.
Yes.
So I don't have to hear the subpar English dubs.
Yes.
I liked hearing, the actual original voices and stuff like that. Kudos to Sega for actually keeping that in.
I wanna say I wish more games would do that. I mean, I think they could even make money if they actually brought out the Japanese with subtitles version and the dubbed version. And the reason why is because, you think about all those, like, anime fanboys out there and just, like, Japanese fanboys like me where I'd rather hear the original voice actors with the subtitles. I mean, you're going to have a script for the dubbing anyway. Take the same Japanese game, add the subtitles to it, and call it good. I mean, think about how many more copies they would sell that, I think, just for that reason. I mean, so many games have just gotten absolutely massacred because of that. And look at, like, Shenmue. And look at, like, Resident Evil. I mean, absolutely horrible. So here our call game industry release more games with Japanese speaking and English subtitles. That is what we want. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I absolutely agree. Just, you mentioned Resident Evil. What is it, Barry? It's blood. That was awful, 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 awful. Anyway, going back to Shinobi. The level of difficulty in that game is very, very tough. It's not impossible, but it definitely keeps you on your toes and makes you aware of what's going on around you, unlike the previous title, which was reviewed, that I'm not going to get back into. The bosses were... Some of them were a little easy, there were some that were difficult, but for the most part the flow kept on going. What made them difficult was the fact that you don't have X amount of lives to go on. You just have one life and a life bar to run with, and you have to carry that throughout the whole entire level. So, yeah, just in general, I really have no complaints about the game. I would definitely say go pick it up. It's very, very fun. The extras on it are pretty neat. The FMVs are neat. Just the whole entire game in general. Definitely not a letdown. did the old school Shinobi some justice, not making the game worse, coming into a 3D transition.
Let me interrupt you here for a second.
Even a little bit better.
Styx Rage has messaged me, and he said, ask your co-host, Grayscale, how does this compare to the first one in terms of fun factor? I mean, I guess, how do they compare in general?
Well, if we're talking about Shinobi for the arcade versus this one, all right? Just so I can get clarified on it.
Well, yeah, he says the game you're reviewing right now, because the original Sega one is what I was referring to. It was an excellent game, and I was hesitant that it wouldn't live up to the standards that it set.
Oh, okay. No. I honestly, and I'm kind of, sometimes I'm a stickler for this, but I thought the fun factor was about the same, in my opinion. Other people might think differently because they might be more of a purist than what I might be, but I thought that the fun factor held over for going into this one because it's kind of a different style because of the fact that it's now on a 3D plane.
Right.
3D plane. Nice contradiction right there. It's in a 3D realm, but they did a good job with it because there really is no other way they could have done that. What they did in the 3D way, they couldn't have done it any better 3D than what they've done now with the current game. So, yeah, definite kudos to that.
Well, I definitely agree with you in a lot of different ways there. Especially, I kind of like the cinematic feel to it. I'm kind of interested to see how it's going to compare to like Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox because I kept on confusing, the two because they're almost the same in terms of style and whatnot. Well, not particularly, but it just seemed like they were going for that same kind of feeling, kind of look. So it'll be interesting to see how that one fares. But I enjoyed the game. I would definitely rate it pretty high. I guess it didn't have a wham bam thank you ma'am for me, but it was still it's still like a good hearty substance title that I didn't feel like I wasted any time. So.
No.
I thought I would also recommend that people go out and check that out. So, all right, folks. Well, with that, we are going to take our first hour break. Thank you for joining us here on Epileptic Gaming. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to have our specialty segments, and I'll give those away right now. We're going to be talking our specialty segment Vapors, and we're going to be having the best of 2002. Don't go away. We'll be back in about 8 or so. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale. You're tuned into Epileptic Gaming on TSN.
So basically, according to the large pile of design papers stacked on a table in the corner of the TSN cafeteria,
this is what we have created. A station produced by gamers, for gamers.
A place where huge nerds can relax and listen to game casting.
Brought to you by other huge nerds. Top matches from Counter-Strike, Day of Defeat, Jedi Knight 2, Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, Quake 3, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Soldier of Fortune 2, Team Fortress Classic, Tribes 2, Unreal Tournament 2003, and Urban Terror.
We tend to think you'll agree that that's a lot more gaming than you can shake a stick at. Yes, even a really big stick.
TSN, we call the shots.
Your source for the esports revolution. This is the Team Sportscast Network.
This is my boomstick.
This is...
Yeah, baby!
This is...
Yeah!
You're really pissing me off.
This is the Team Sportscast Network.
Please be aware that you should always monitor the use and moderation of video games. If you or your friends experience any of the following symptoms: dizziness, blurred vision, eye or muscle twitches, loss of consciousness, disorientation, any involuntary movement or convulsions while playing a video game, good. Welcome to Epileptic Gaming.
Now back to Epileptic Gaming.
Folks, we are back. A nice little 7 or 8 minute break we took there. Grayscale, how was that break for you?
Good for me. Got my water, got myself ready to go.
It was good for me, man.
Getting over Devil May Cry 2 still.
Yeah, we just reviewed Devil May Cry 2 a little bit, and we touched on SimCity 4 and Shinobi. So thank you for joining us here tonight on TSN. This is Epileptic Gaming with your hosts, djWHEAT and Grayscale. Now we have the segment of the show that we kind of like to call our specialty segment. Before we go ahead and open this up, we just want to know that, or we just want you to know that we encourage as much listener interaction as possible. So in the last hour, we are going to be opening up the phones, and we'll give you the phone number for that. Please, if you do have the number already, hold off on the calls until the final hour. We also do, just for on-air questions, we do have an AIM name set up. So if you've got AOL Instant Messenger, you can message EGBot, E as in elephant, G as in gaming, Elephant Gaming Bot. No spaces, and direct your questions. They will be filtered by our co-host here, Grayscale. And if you have anything about what we're discussing, please feel free to go ahead and ask. So we are going to go right into our next segment, and it's going to be the first one of its kind here on the first show of Epileptic Gaming, and it's called Vapors. And a little bit of history behind this is we were thinking, you know, we're still so close to 2002, and there hasn't been a whole lot that's come out in 2003. So let's go ahead, and while it's still fresh in everyone's mind, let's talk a little bit about 2002. So we've come up with a Vapors list that was kind of a lot of different games, accessories, or ideas that never came out that were supposed to come out in 2002. You have anything to say about Vaporware, Grayscale? It's always kind of a taboo thing in the gaming industry. And, you know, companies hate to see something associated with Vaporware, but what do you think?
I almost would make an analogy as like Vaporware is like a technological Loch Ness Monster. It's like, oh, maybe 10 people have seen it, but it really doesn't exist, you know? For instance, the Nintendo 64 disk drive.
Right. Where'd that thing go?
That was legendary. That was a legendary piece of hardware.
Yeah, it was horrible. So
among other things,
Vaporware is, you know, it's always a concern of gamers, especially, you know, a title even like UO2 that gets canceled, Ultima Online 2. Obviously, I've already expressed my displeasure that game was canceled because I love the first Ultima Online. But so anyway, we're going to be talking about our top 5 Vapors of 2002. And what we're going to do is we're going to count down from 5 to 1, and we're going to go back and forth. And so I'm going to start off. Actually, no, why don't you start off with the Vapors tonight?
Okay. I'm going to start off with number 5, work my way all the way down to 1. Number 5, even though it's coming out in 2003, so they say, Infogrames Master of Orion 3. Number 4 on the list.
Wait. Let me do 5. Let's talk a little bit about that. Master of Orion 3, that was actually supposed to come out in 2001, wasn't it? Or announced then?
Yeah, it was. Then it was pushed back to 2002, and then 2002 they did a lot more coverage of it. That's when they started doing the diaries and, you know, the developer logs of what was going on and whatnot. But that was just basically, you know, like, okay, we have a reason to put it off. Let's just give them another couple pages to read, let them smile, more screenshots, move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I hear you. Now, what kind of? But I'm not familiar with the Master of Orion series at all. I've not played any of them.
Well,
so what?
I'm a big. The Master of Orion series, it's basically, imagine SimCity set in space with violence. Now, let me elaborate on it a little bit.
Okay.
This is me. I'm thinking of this from the first one because the second one was alright, but it was a lot of micromanagement. The third one's going to be much more micromanagement, but the kickback for that though is that it looks like it's a lot more fun. Where the second one was very, very economical. Now, the way Master of Orion worked was you were set on a random map, and there were star systems that you can go ahead and colonize. You pick one of, I believe, 8 races it was at the time, and you would take your ships and you would go ahead and you would start colonizing things, and then you would do diplomacy between the different races. What you wanted to exchange technology, like if you had level 2 shields and you wanted to pick up something about eco crop dusting or something to that extent, and go back and forth. The object of the game was to basically be like the galactic ruler.
Right. This sounds a little bit like Star Control 2 and 3.
Yeah, it is kind of like Star Control 2, but like the neat thing about it was the AI. You had to actually get the AI to vote for you to be the leader.
Wow.
And that took a lot of diplomacy going back and forth, but the problem was if you sucked up to one race too much, another one would get upset and they would declare war on you. And there was a lot of things like going back and forth in terms of just like diplomacy. Like it was a really, really neat game at the time, and I just played it and played it and played it on my really, really funky 486.
So we're looking forward. We're looking forward in 2003, and hopefully it'll make it there. So. All right, my 5, and I know that it's on your list too, at least I think so, and that is Duke Nukem Forever. I think a lot of people will be surprised it's not higher on the list, but quite frankly, I'm getting kind of tired of talking about it. All I really have to say about Duke Nukem Forever is, really, what takes so long? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, we've seen that teaser movie, and that thing looked like it was damn near complete, but they keep, switching out engines and doing this and adding more story and doing... By the time they're done with that, it is going to suffer a horrible fate because it would just release it already. I unfortunately think that title will probably be Where's More Than It's Bought. They've kind of been digging their hole, and, the coffin's going under. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke Nukem Forever was finally canceled. So that's all I got to say about that. It's on your list. Do you want to make your comments now, or do you want to wait?
No, I'll take a little my turn right now, and I'll just give it 2 words before I get into it later. Daikatana.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Big time. Big time.
Okay. Getting into number 4. It's a piece of hardware that was basically put in limbo due to just lack of developer support here in the United States. The Sony's PlayStation 2 hard drive. There's been, they've already sent out their network adapter. The network adapter's already ready to take an internal hard drive. So where's the hard drive? They should have really taken advantage of what they had, especially with games like Tony Hawk 4, where you could just get a bunch of like skate levels, and then just get like a master list from Neversoft and stuff like that. Where it would be kind of Quake-ish, where there would be a standard expansion pack that would come with the game and whatnot. Same thing with Twisted Metal Black. Same thing with ATV Off-Road Fury 2.
Final Fantasy.
I mean, there's a lot of possibility with it, but there hasn't. Frequency. Oh boy, Frequency. Well, we'll see what they do with the sequel that's coming out.
Not Frequency. I mean, that's nice that they would do that for Frequency. Final Fantasy 11. I mean, come on.
That's the game that it's riding on, basically. Yeah.
Where is it?
All the weight's been put on.
I wish that they would get along with that thing. As popular as MMORPGs are in the United States, what the hell is taking them so long? You've got millions of copies of Final Fantasy selling every time you release a title. Hello, do I see money? Dollar signs? I do. I don't understand. Now, we discussed this earlier, and we kind of come to the conclusion that the industry doesn't really, they're not too motivated to support it. But my argument was, put it out on the market. Let's see if they'll support it. They have released like limited quality or quantities, right? I mean,
of the hard drive or of the
the hard drive.
Yeah, well, you can get the hard drive now if you wanted to, which would come with a Linux pack if you wanted to be really out and like run Linux on a PlayStation 2. Yeah, I know, that's so rad. Hey, look, I'm compiling a kernel with my controller. This is awesome, dude. No. Yeah, just not my idea of having fun with a console. No. But yeah, but supposedly the hard drive's supposed to come out this year. There's supposed to be developer support behind it, thank God.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to wait and see. And
what happens?
I think Final Fantasy 11 is definitely going to be the make or break thing that's going to push that thing, through
give
the
it
roof.
to me. I mean, it's kind of got a way different look, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. So Sony, get on that right away. All right, I'm going to go on to my 4. My 4 is also an accessory, and if you've just tuned in, we're talking about our top 5 vaporwares of 2002. And my number 4 is the TV tuner for the Game Boy Advanced. Where in the hell is it? I just got to say, the Sega Game Gear had a TV tuner within like 2 months of its release, and it was the best reason to own that thing, besides the Shinobi game that they made for it. But my question is that you know, how hard can it be? I think there are so many accessories for the Game Boy Advance that people are not taking advantage of. An MP3 player for the Game Boy Advance. Why not? You make it a cartridge, even, you know, you give it SD memory access, something like that. Add a TV tuner. I know that they've got modifications that let you output to your TV, but that's not what I'm talking about. I want a portable damn, you know, TV on my Game Boy Advance. The screen is good enough. It would be stretched a little bit. But come on here, folks. Really, what's the problem? Why can't Nintendo, who's obviously going to make a few extra bucks on it, release an accessory like this? What do you think? Am I crazy here? Or do you think this is something that the Game Boy Advance audience needs?
It's probably since you're more of a hardcore person than, like, you know, the average gamer, which is just a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon players. On the Game Boy Advance, that is. That's the base main market. That's kind of, it would be more of a niche thing if they did something like that.
Right.
I definitely think they should put it out. And if Nintendo doesn't put it out themselves, definitely some third party should jump on it, because I'm pretty sure that it may not gain a lot of, like, momentum initially, but I think it's going to be, as it grows and there's reviews about it, and if there's good word of mouth about it, that's when it's going to start to sell. I don't think it would go, like, it would sell well right away, but I think later on it would come out to be a better utility that would be, you know, almost second nature, almost like buying a second controller for a console.
Exactly.
If it actually has, you know, full functionality to it.
Exactly.
So, you know, all you can do is wait and see.
All right, take us away with your number 3.
My number 3, you kind of touched on it earlier. Whenever we had mentioned the news about NVIDIA and Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Their GeForce FX graphics cards.
Yeah, good game, NVIDIA.
Where are they? At this point, they have Daikatana syndrome. I'm going to coin that now. I'm going to actually get that phrase patented, Daikatana syndrome. John Romero, you can eat it. I stole it, whatever. Daikatana syndrome is what this thing is going to have. Because there's been FX cards that have been going on and getting reviewed, and the reviews for them, they haven't been all that impressive, especially with ATI stepping up to the plate and, you know, giving NVIDIA some challenge, giving them some competition to actually, you know, make for an interesting consumer decision.
Right.
These FX cards, they're taking a while. They've canceled if I'm not mistaken, they have canceled the 5800 Ultra cards. That was mentioned on Hard OCP. Yes, it was. The 5800 Ultra cards. They got canned. I do believe BFG is still selling some, but they're not making any more to my knowledge.
Gotta love that.
They kind of scrapped it because of the fact of the Ultra, you know, the Ultra thing. So basically, Ultra cards are going to be great collector's items. eBay material.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, the FX cards are, you know, they should too little, too late. They're going to have to just cut their losses and move on with, you know, whatever they're going to do, because the NV30s are around the corner, and ATI doesn't look like it's going to relent with any kind of, you know, oh, well, maybe we'll cut them a break. Come on, it's business. They're out to make a dime, and we're going to see some really heated battles here in 2003.
Oh yeah, we could have another 3D effects on our hands, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead into your number 3.
All right, number 3 for my Vaporware of 2002, and that was Command & Conquer Generals. I'm a huge fan of the Command & Conquer series, and it wasn't until, I don't know. I don't think it was even until this year when I got my hand on the beta. I played it, and I'm not going to go into too much of a review here because I'm sure I'm going to be touching on it in future shows, but my initial reaction, sucks donkey balls. I mean, really, really horrible. It was only multiplayer, and it moved incredibly slow, and it was the beta. So I am going to go out. I'm going to give it another chance because, I mean, really, the thing that's awesome about Command & Conquer is it's single player. That's why people play it. That's why, StarCraft and Warcraft, those are the multiplayer RTS games. Command & Conquer Generals just shouldn't even attempt it, but they are, unfortunately. So I'm excited to play the game single player, and I will probably be reviewing it. But, 2002, it was a title that I was waiting for, and I kept seeing all these gorgeous screenshots just going, my God, this is the Command & Conquer that I want. And it's still got a few days left on it. I think about it comes out February 13th, but really disappointed that one didn't hit the shelves in 2002, and I'm worried that possibly it could still have been a little rushed out the door. So we'll find out in about 5 days when I can pick that up.
All right.
Have you played it?
Yeah. I haven't tooled around with it yet. I'm gonna get to it very, very soon.
Okay.
Because I've been hearing some mixed things about it. Either people that completely love it, or people that are but I haven't had too many that said they hated it. So that's a decent sign for a Command & Conquer game, because I remember whenever Tiberian Sun came out, and that was a very, very much a love-hate relationship. There was no one that just kind of liked it. Either they loved it, or they didn't want anything to do with it. So
right.
We'll see. Whenever I get my hands on it, I'll be able to kind of gauge what's going on with
Good
that.
deal. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing it. Go on to your number 2.
All right, my number 2. We mentioned it before. His number 5. Duke Nukem Takes Forever. And you can insert any word in the middle of it. Duke Nukem won't. Duke Nukem developed forever. Duke Nukem takes forever. At this point, Duke Nukem Forever is probably the video game Loch Ness Monster. It is the video game Bigfoot. People have pictures of it. They know it's out there, but where is it? They have to really, they've already gone through two engine changes with it. I'm pretty sure they've had to redo a lot of their models, if have to just reapply them because of the different engines and whatnot, and all the scripting that changes between those engines. And I really, if the game, another Daikatana syndrome thing going on here. If that game ever comes out before I'm 35, I really hope, for its sake, that it has the best storyline ever. Because at this point, I think the graphics are going to be dated, like you had mentioned before.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. Well,
you've already touched on it before, and I can't really say much else about it except for just release the thing already.
You'd almost think with the number of alphas and betas that are leaked to the public that this thing would have seen light of day sometime, but we still haven't seen it. So who knows? Maybe they're just all doctored shots. But speaking about graphics that are going to be outdated when the game comes out, that's Shadowbane, an MMORPG that really I think a lot of people have been looking forward to. It's definitely got a unique spin on the MMORPG genre, I guess you could say. And basically you build different cities, and essentially you would apply taxes. So it's sort of got an advanced economic system. Unfortunately, the game looks absolutely like a steaming pile of dog poo. I mean, you take a look at World of Warcraft, and you are just like, my God, this game is beautiful. I mean, it really is awesome. I mean, Asheron's Call 2, if you have the hardware to run it, unbelievable. Just a great-looking game. Shadowbane, what the hell am I looking at? I think the Game Boy Advance could push better polygons than this thing. So I'm still wondering where the hell it is. It's been through so many different open public betas or private betas, and I think they're just worried about dropping a bomb. But at the same time, they just keep spending money on it. So hopefully we'll see it in 2003. But I don't really have much more to say about that game. I would play it if it came out.
Oh boy,
just to try it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always that little, I'll give it a shot kind of thing, But Daikatana syndrome. Anyway, going on to the number 1, Vaporware of 2002. Now, I didn't give Duke Nukem Forever number 1 because that thing always gets number 1. I think 3D Realms has it at number 1 just so that we know 3D Realms still exists every year. But this game hasn't been put in the spotlight for a while. Deserves to be put in the spotlight now. Team Fortress 2, Brotherhood of Arms.
Oh.
By the time this game comes out, my kid's going to look at it and he's going to be like, is this for the Atari? This is ridiculous. They've been working on this thing forever. I haven't heard too much too much about like engine changes. I think they might have had one. The thing was announced in '99, and it's 4 years later, and we have seen nothing but a bunch of screenshots. Now, the problem that they have also is Counter-Strike is basically going to be the death of this game, because if they try to actually sell this thing and they haven't even updated the engine, why bother playing this whenever you have a game that's already successful, has tens and thousands of players playing on a daily basis, and has a much stronger following instead of starting with something from scratch from here. And I remember whenever they had brought up how they wanted to do voice comm and have the models lip sync with what the player was saying. To me,
oh my God!
Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Okay.
What a horrible idea.
Now I don't see any thrill in just seeing players just go F-bomb, 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 and seeing if the lips match the F-bomb, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be like, you're F-bombing gay, or you're, F-bomb this, or F-bomb that. It's going to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
The 13-year-olds are going to come out, and they're going to play, and they're going to play hard if that option is available.
They're just going to look at each other and just, like, speak back and forth profanities. Just, this game is the rules. But that game, I remember seeing screenshots of it and going, wow, that looks kick-ass. And quite frankly, I think that it was near completion, and then Return to Castle Wolfenstein came out, and they're like, damn it, back to the drawing board. So, I mean, the screenshots always looked really, really good. I was always very impressed. But, I guess could quite possibly be another title that we never, ever, ever, ever see. So that was your number one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
to
that was my number one.
To top the Vaporware list of 2002 off for djWHEAT, at the top of my list, Tomb Raider for the PS2. Huge fan of the Tomb Raider series, not because of, the busty Lara Croft, but because I was always a huge fan of the level designs, of the suspense, and, I'm very claustrophobic when it comes to games that take place in the water. And Tomb Raider 2 ranks up there as one of my top 5 games that just literally freaked the crap out of me, because I was being chased by, like, badly skinned polygon alligators and sharks in Tomb Raider 1 and 2. And I'm really looking for that in this next title. There's going to be a new character. It's no longer based off the tile system, which was like, if you remember Tomb Raider 1, it was basically, all of them up to 4 were basically consisted of these tile sets. But this one's free movement.
Yeah.
In the tile sets, you could press forward and walk, and you would walk automatically up to the next tile. Well, this one's going to be more free moving. So I'm excited to see. I think they can do a lot more with their, with their jumping puzzles. The thing is that if they're going to want to do good with this game, they're going to need to go back to their roots and find the things in Tomb Raider 1 that were absolutely just the bomb. I love Tomb Raider 1 to death, and none of the other games really did it for me like the first one did. And maybe it would just wore out really quickly, but the graphics are beautiful. They stopped development on it. Well, they actually continued, drawn out development of it so they could make it a little bit better. I don't know if that's going to hurt them or help them, but it didn't show up in 2002. Therefore, it's going to go number 1 on my Vaporware list, Tomb Raider. Are you excited for this? Are you a Lara Croft fan?
I was a Lara Croft fan until about 3. I didn't really play 3 that much. Then I played 4, and I liked 4. But then I saw the screenshots for the new one that they were making for PS2, and I was excited about it. But
right.
I've been waiting for a while, and I actually forgot Tomb Raider existed until we started talking about this list, which isn't necessarily good for idols to hear, to be like, oh my god, our customers are forgetting that we even exist. So, I'm now that you mention it, I look forward to it, especially hearing about the free movement. That should be pretty interesting to actually be able to control Lara in an actual 3D space instead of playing on a grid. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that is our Vaporware list of 2002. We're going to take a short 12-second station identification. We'll be right back with our next segment, the best of 2002. Don't go away.
This is Epileptic Gaming with djWHEAT and Grayscale. Live on TSN.
Sportscast Network.
We are back, djWHEAT and Grayscale, and folks, our next segment, it's the best of 2002. We figured that 2002 was still close enough that we could go ahead and break down the games that we thought made it a worthy year as a gamer. I don't know how you want to do this, Grayscale. We haven't really talked about it, but we can go. Let's just go ahead and go back and forth like we did last time. I'll go ahead and start. I'm not going to go too much into in-depth about some of my titles. There's a few that I want to more or less, but the first one on my best of 2002, we're going from 10 and we're counting down, is Asheron's Call 2. And an MMORPG, very, very good hack and slash with some crafting abilities put in there. Good questing, good stories, and I like the whole concept of being able to build the cities up, to add your wood, to rebuild the civilization that was destroyed. So I like the games that continue on with the storylines and continue on with what happened in Asheron's Call 1 and give the players a higher purpose than just going out and killing monsters. So very excited about that game when it came out. I was in the public beta along with my girlfriend. We played it for a while with a few other friends. Good title. Looks beautiful. They had their early quirks, but what MMORPG doesn't? Asheron's Call, my number 10. Take it away.
My number 10, reviewed it earlier, enjoyed it immensely. Shinobi for the PlayStation 2. Why I made it number 10? It was nice to see a platform scroller that was put on a 3D space, and it actually translated well instead of being something where the camera angles were ridiculous. You know, because you had control of where the camera was. You know, how it was focused and how close it was and whatnot. Again, the graphics held up fine. The full motion sequences for that game were real good. Again, the original Japanese sounds plus the subtitles was also a bonus. The extras were good. Nothing to complain about for this game. Just completely enjoyed it immensely. I hope that, you know, some developers take a page from this game and try to actually incorporate some of the things, or even make the game even better than what it was before, should they decide to make a sequel. But I still play it whenever, you know, I can't think of anything else to play. It just sits in my library. And
nice.
Whenever, you know,
those titles are good.
Comes to shove, it's always something that I could pull out and like play a couple levels and have fun with it. So
right.
Shinobi for the PlayStation 2 is my number 10. Your number 9?
My number 9, which I'm not going to talk about at all, is The Sims Online. We've already touched on it a little bit, but I did think that it was good enough to make it in there. I'm happy to see that they're making advancements on games that I feel like appeal to both a female and a male audience. It's kind of just like a social, huge, just like you said earlier, chat room. But I'm curious to see about There, which is a new kind of Sims Online. I don't know if you've heard about it, but Sims Online, it was good enough to put on my top 10. It takes number 9. Go for it.
I'm going to sound like a real big biter when I say this, but my number 9 is also The Sims Online for the PC. I still play the game, so that kind of says something. But then again, I'm an IRC addict, so that says another thing on top of it. The game to me is fun. It's a decent social outlet for if you're bored of just like chatting in a chat room and just seeing stuff scroll up and whatnot. But you know, it is basically a big dollhouse. There are a lot of things that are finally coming through development that are going to make the game more interesting. We still have to wait and see whether these things do come to light.
Yeah, pan out.
It's almost like development vaporware, but you know, like there's casino items that are coming out. There's going to be shops that you can actually make your own clothes with and stuff like that. So it's going to give the user a lot more customization. Of
Grayscale's going to be a fashion designer.
That's right, baby. Anyway.
All right. Let's move
number
on.
Number 9, The Sims Online.
All right, number 8, Best of 2002, broken down here by djWHEAT and Grayscale on Epileptic Gaming, Castlevania, Harmony of Dissonance. All I gotta say is, you know, the genre doesn't get old. It's so comforting to know that they can still whip out these Castlevania games and people will like them. Now, if you remember, they made a 3D Castlevania for the N64 and it sucked. It was incredibly difficult and it just didn't capture that same feeling. So Dissonance, it was awesome to have around. All I gotta say is, if you play this game, it's way longer than I ever expected. So still haven't been able to beat it. So kind of nice. It's my travel title. Whenever I travel, I just go ahead and pick up where I left off, try to finish my map, and complete the game. Grayscale, number 8.
if I had to say a title that was the complete opposite of my number 8, and I know this is going to make your blood boil, Wheat, Tekken 4 would definitely be the complete opposite of this game. My number 8, Virtua Fighter 4 for the PlayStation 2.
Bleh.
I was surprised by the game. You know, I wasn't a big fan of the Virtua Fighter series in general. There had been a lack of fighting titles that had come out, and I heard that Virtua Fighter 4 was a big improvement, but, you know, I was still kind of like, whatever. But I picked up the game, I actually tried it out, and I enjoyed it a lot. There was, you know, the training mode was interesting, how it kept track of the moves that you actually, you know, completed.
Right.
The ranking mode that it actually had in there during the Kumite mode, which I thought was neat, being able that you can get your ranks up, and the higher you get your ranks up, the harder the AI gets. The fact that you can play, you can have a computer sparring partner, and it learns how you fight, and it teaches you the holes that you have inside of your actual strategy. So, you know, Virtua Fighter 4, definitely a solid fighting title for 2002. Your number 7.
My number 7, Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. Very colorful, nice adaptation, or, you know, it's a completely new game, but it's essentially the same engine as the Super Nintendo Metroid. Nicely done, really no complaints about the game. It sold well, and I definitely feel like it deserves a number 7 spot on my list. So I gave it to Metroid Fusion. Good job. Your number 7.
My number 7, No One Lives Forever 2 for the PC. It was great to see them make a sequel to that game. I enjoyed the first one a lot. I found that some of the comedy was a little bit too wordy. They fixed that in the second one. Kate Archer just comes back and she just completely, you know, levels her opponents and stuff like that. The weapons in this game are much better than they were in the second one. A lot more balancing and whatnot. The story kept me engaged. I always found myself laughing at certain things and whatnot. But overall, it was definitely a solid shooter title. It was something different from the norm of being a space marine and going and killing demons.
Yeah, exactly.
It was nice to see some, you know, some variety and some balls by a developer to actually go ahead and make a shooter that had a lot of comedy in it and have a female hero in it also.
Which is nice.
You know, sometimes, yeah, which is nice because it's nice to see them be able to do it and they do it properly.
Right, not a big-breasted, hardly dressed hero.
Classy. Not Tomb Raider 1. Tomb Raider 1's Lara Croft. That was bad. She was way misproportioned. They had to cut her down like a bajillion pixels. But yeah, No One Lives Forever 2. My number 7. Your number 6.
My number 6. It's Resident Evil 0 for the GameCube. And for those listeners who do not know djWHEAT that well, zombies scare the living crap out of me. So I know a game is good when I can't play it for literally 30 minutes at a time because I get so tense just thinking about the fact that there might be a zombie in that next hallway that I have to go face to face with. So the fact that they can still capture that after four games is just absolutely incredible. I love the series. The graphics are beautiful. I cannot wait until 4 and guarantee that will be my best of whatever year it comes out, 2004 probably. But Resident Evil 0, it takes number 6 on my list. Great title for the GameCube. I believe a must-have. Your number 6.
6. I'm going to take a little bit, just a smidgen extra time for this. There is a Dreamcast revival on my list. A surprise hit that no one really took to heart right away, but when the people played it, they were like, whoa. It's coming out for the GameCube this year. Ikaruga for the Dreamcast. Treasure Shoot 'em Up. This game I found very, very entertaining, and I was intrigued by it immensely. Because I don't really see too many quality shoot 'em ups in terms of space shooters, but this one just blew me away. The fact that it has a Mars Matrix gameplay to it in terms of being able to collect stuff and power up your ship, plus switching from black to white and absorbing whatever color your ship is. If there's black bullets in the air and you're in a black ship, you absorb the black bullets, but you got to watch out for the white ones, so you actually have some kind of strategic rolling of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The level of difficulty for this game, ridiculous. I've had a hard time trying to get through the thing. I did once, and I did cartwheels and stuff that I didn't think I could ever do. but I had so much fun with the title. I still even play it occasionally. It's another one that I just, I'll blow off the dust on my Dreamcast and I'll pop it in. I'll go ahead and play it. But man, you GameCube owners, go ahead and pick that up whenever that comes out. I highly, highly recommend it.
Nice.
Ikaruga's my number 6. Your number 5.
All right, my number 5 resulted in a tie, and it goes to DDR Extreme, which was released in the arcade on December 25th, and I am a big DDR fan. So I was happy to see that released. Although it was a Japanese release, I'm still going to call it one of the best of 2002 for arcade machines. Just an insane amount of songs, and they took out some of the ridiculous stuff that they were adding, so it's kind of nice. But more importantly, the tie for number 5, Soul Calibur 2. Loved Soul Calibur 1. Huge Taki player. And all I've got to say is the arcade version, I'm highly anticipating the console version. The arcade version, what's so badass about it is that you can basically set up your character with a ghost, and your ghost learns from your fighting style, similar to kind of what you were mentioning in Virtua Fighter 4. But someone can come up to this machine and just like challenge your ghost. So I always am getting on these message boards of people saying, yo, challenge my Astaroth ghost and see if you can beat him. And it's just a really cool and unique addition to the game. And the fact that it's kept all its gameplay mechanics and it's still an absolutely beat on your opponent's ass game. I love it. My number 5, Soul Calibur 2, tied up with DDR Extreme. Your number 5.
My number 5, Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance for the Game Boy Advance. You had mentioned it earlier. Surprise title for me. The only thing that annoyed me was the music, but we also had mentioned the sound quality of it before. But man, one of my favorite titles of all time is definitely Symphony of the Night. So whenever I played Harmony of Dissonance, I felt right at home. I just went at it, and I kept on playing and kept on playing. And I had the same thing that you had, where I thought the game was going to end eventually, but it just didn't seem to end. It just seemed to keep on going. And I'm not complaining one bit. That was a very enjoyable title. I look forward to the other Castlevanias that they're releasing. Supposedly they're releasing a 2D Castlevania for PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely want to take a look at that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Castlevania series. They usually don't disappoint, except for that horrible Nintendo 64 title that I'm not counting. But
I don't count it either.
My number 5 is Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Your number 4, Lee.
My number 4 is Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube. Incredibly kiddish game, but and people are going to crucify me for saying this, but I really feel that the graphics in the game were top-notch. The bosses, the environments, everything was really good. Another thing about it, which I just feel like I have to give credit to, is the music. It was repetitive, but it wasn't so repetitive that I was banging my head into the wall. Not like Kingdom Hearts, when you were playing Under the Sea World and all you heard was Under the Sea. It got too ridiculous. This was music. Every time I heard it, it was really like ambient, kind of tribal. Just good stuff. The title overall was quite good. I was a little disappointed about the flying sections, but Nintendo's taking Star Fox over, and they're going to be making an all-flying game again, like they did on the N64. So I'm looking forward to that one. But Star Fox Adventure comes in number 4 because of graphics, because it was a nice little sit-down, don't have to really get frustrated title, and it had some great music. So your number 4.
My number 4, PC title, Neverwinter Nights. Definitely a piece of vaporware for a few years, something that was always brought to E3, something that all the fanboys just started drooling over, but people were always like, where is it? Well, it finally came out, and it didn't disappoint me one bit. The graphics for it were pretty top-notch, considering the kind of things that they were pulling off with it, like being able to play 64-player multiplayer games and having multiple dungeon masters in a game, which I found very interesting. So that way you didn't have one person trying to juggle 63 other people. It was very balanced in that sense. The single-player story, it was pretty good. It wasn't anything revolutionary, nothing like Baldur's Gate 2, but it definitely held its own. Again, be talking about the multiplayer. The multiplayer was fun. The little mods that they had for the modules, I found those interesting, like being able to take your warrior and put them in a battlefield with somebody else and see who had the tougher guy and stuff like that, and Neverwinter Night chess and all these other things. So it definitely gave the game some longevity. Plus, the support from BioWare with the mod community and stuff like that, top notch for sure. The forums and all that mess. They did a very, very good job with making sure that they had touch with the gamers. Sure, they weren't there like every second, but in reality, it's not really feasible. But they did take the time to hear, to hear all the gamers' problems and go ahead and try to correct as much as possible. Even though there isn't a Mac or Linux client out for it, or if it is out, it came out really, really late. But it made a Vaporware list, mainly Wired's. But for the PC, I really, really, really did enjoy it. So my number 4 is Neverwinter Nights. Your number 3.
My number 3, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, but my number 3 is Warcraft 3. Really, what is there bad to say about this title? The single player is awesome. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous. You can run it on a fairly low-end machine with a graphics card at the lowest settings, and it still runs pretty well. The game, it redefined RTSs for me. I found a big love in Warcraft 3. I enjoy playing it quite a bit. I'm not so much into the custom games like the little Lord of the Rings and, like Quake 3 and all those crazy custom games that people make. But I really just enjoy the competitive aspect of it. I think it's got good strategy, and I'm looking forward to the expansion pack because I think it's going to add a little bit more. But Warcraft 3, graphics gorgeous, full motion video cinema's gorgeous, great character models, fast gameplay. It has kept me occupied for hours. Wonderful job by Blizzard. Warcraft 3. It goes up on my number 3 for the PC. Your number 3.
My number 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City for the PlayStation 2. Even though this is a sequel to, pretty much the critically acclaimed Grand Theft Auto 3, this game was pretty ballsy in the sense that they took 7 CDs of genuine 80s music and put it into a video game.
Oh yeah.
On top of original talk show commentary with that, and it's just like, that was a really big move. Even though they knew they were going to be successful, for them to get that much support behind it and be able to pull off that kind of stunt is definitely amazing.
Right.
Being able to drive around on a motorcycle also.
And a helicopter.
That was fun. I had so much fun with that thing, it was not even funny. And I love Rockstar's humor in the beginning with having the Commodore starting up for the Rockstar North thing. And another thing I enjoyed that I giggled at for like 10 seconds was whenever you get on the scooter and the scooter is called the Faggio. I rest my case. Your number 3.
All right, my number 2. And before I go on, Jagoba, and I know we haven't started open discussion quite yet, that's going to be in the final hour, is saying that Warcraft 3 multiplayer gets boring. And I have to agree with him in some respects, because people get one strategy and stick with it, but that's why I'm hoping the expansion pack opens some doors for some different tech trees. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it. Let's go on to my number 2. And Rage was in the channel going, God, if someone doesn't mention this game, I'm going to kill someone. Well, here it is, number 2, Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation 2. It almost made my number 1, and I can't really say why. I felt like my number 1 was just a little bit better than Kingdom Hearts, but absolutely sweet ass game by Disney and Square. It's going to really change things in the RPG genre, I think. I think that people are going to see this as a subgenre of RPGs and say, hey, let's get with Warner Brothers and do, a Dragon Warrior Warner Brothers game or just something ridiculous like that. I think it's going to spawn that. But what's important is that if those things spawn, it's going to encourage like Kingdom Hearts 2 to come out, which there was actually a trailer for. Whether or not it will actually come, we'll see. But also, I've heard that Square might have a second chance in the movie realm, and that's the possibility of bringing a Kingdom Hearts style game with Square characters and the Disney characters to the screen, and that would be incredible.
Really?
Yeah, I've just heard about this.
It's
I don't know, CG or animation, either one. It's going to be awesome. So we'll see about that. Kingdom Hearts 2, unbelievable game. If you own a PS2, why haven't you played this? And if you've played it already, congrats. It's a wonderful title and probably my square weight until Final Fantasy Tactics for the Game Boy Advance. So you're number 2. Take it away. We got about 8 minutes remaining.
We got an echo also because my number 2 is your number 3. Warcraft 3 for the PC. The single-player game for it, I was floored with because that's what I went through first before I went to the multiplayer. Blizzard never fails to make some kind of really, really, not so much deep, but very engaging storyline. That could also be seen with Diablo 2. The game was just an item hunt, but the story behind it was just amazing. The stories were awesome. The character balancing, it's pretty good. The multiplayer was fun. The reason I gave it number 2, though, was if you can play a multiplayer game and get destroyed in it over and over again, but still end with a smile on your face and want to play again online, who can go wrong with that, you know? So the fun factor is definitely there. Even though people just milk strategies and whatnot, you know, I just find the game fun because I just try to do whatever I possibly can just to get stuff out and get the ball rolling. You know, if Wax Steven were to cast me, he would be like, "You're the biggest noob in the world, turn off your computer and unplug everything." But, yeah, my number 2 is Warcraft 3. And numero uno, go for it.
Numero uno. Okay, people are guessing that either I have Grand Theft Auto Vice City or a title that has not been mentioned. Well, Grand Theft Auto's already been mentioned. I honestly haven't even really played it, so I couldn't put it on my list. But number 1 goes to Metroid Prime for the GameCube. I was so worried about this game. I was really convinced that there was no way that they were going to capture the Metroid feel of the 8-bit and the Super Nintendo 2D scrollers, and they did, folks. 3D, way better first person than I would have ever imagined. A hell of a lot of fun. Some dark environments that I really didn't care for, and the whole scanning of various information, it just got repetitive. But there is so much story there. If you want to be completely immersed in the game, the opportunity is there. You can just read all of the crap from the logs over and over, and there's practically, they could probably release that into a novel. The game is huge, takes a while to play. A few people complained about its lockups, and I only got lockups 1 or 2 times. One time it sent me back about 2 hours. I wasn't too happy about that, but it was minimal, and the game was absolutely incredible aside from that. So I got to give Metroid Prime my number 1 for the GameCube. Definitely a go-get title if you own a GameCube. I'm sure that everyone listening has either played it or checked it out. But they've already announced that the sequel is going to be coming out, and I would expect that to be happening fairly soon. I assume they'll use the exact same engine, kind of just add some new twist to it, hopefully some new guns and whatnot. There's no doubt about it. Even if they release the exact same engine, exact same game, no new weapons or anything, just new storyline, I would play it, just hands down. The game was beautiful, great, number 1, best game of 2002, Metroid Prime for the GameCube. Go ahead.
My turn. Okay. Now, before I get into this, the reason I gave this game a number 1 was this game, well, before I even get into the number 1, not even as a tease, Wheat saw me scrambling because I didn't even think this made the cut for the year. Because when I put the game in, I saw 2001. But when I saw all the dates for reviews and when it was actually out, it was 2002. The reason I had checked it was because the game that I'm reviewing for next week, which I'm not going to mention, says 2002 on it, but it just came out this month, so I'm in the clear. This game provided the best audio experience I could possibly ever think of. How they dreamt something up like this was beyond me. The way that they took the music and they basically gave it life, it was both a video game and it was like almost an art form and it was a music experience. My number 1, Rez for the PlayStation 2. Now, people are going to probably be like, Rez, oh my god, blah, 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 whatever. Get your own list. Just kidding.
Well, it's kind of true.
I enjoyed this game so much. And I always just, whenever I get, a little tired of the same old, go ahead and kill everybody and, just keep on mission objectives and go collect more orbs for stuff like that, I always go back to Rez and just remind myself that, man, there's still so much more that can be done with the video game genre in general, but developers have to be willing to take the time to try to be ballsy and put something out. Not necessarily have every title fail, but they have to try to push something.
Right.
And seeing, whenever they did that, it was really, really big, and I really appreciated whenever the game came out. But my number one, definitely for 2002, definitely one of my all-time favorites, Rez for the PlayStation 2.
Well, there you have it, folks. The list of the best of 2002 brought to you by djWHEAT and Grayscale. This is Epileptic Gaming, a show dedicated to consoles, arcades, and the gaming industry in general. Our next hour, it's going to be open phones, open discussion. This is where you, the listener, get to talk to us about what we've been talking about, or maybe some games that you're excited to see come out. When we come back from the break, we'll give out the phone number, and we'll also give out the AIM screen name. Actually, we'll give that out now. EGBot EGBot. It's the AIM name. And you can send any questions you'd like us to answer on the air about any of the games we've reviewed. And we will be back from the break in just a moment. Thank you for tuning in. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale on TSN.
So basically, according to
the things I enjoy most about listening to the TSN would be the smooth and mellow tunes played during TSN's prime time.
Out of the way, Grandma.
The drink, this is not good. Chain on fire now, checking up. Here comes this. Oh man, wow, good maneuvering there, mid-air.
OMFG, TSN, Fleet.
Booyah, Grandma. Booyah.
The Online Gaming League is a gaming community website maintained by a dedicated staff of volunteer gamers. Founded in 1997, the OGL has grown to become the world's largest action game competition website. The OGL has served more than 500,000 gamers since its inception and continues to grow at a phenomenal rate, with ladders available for virtually every type of online competitive game in existence. The OGL has something for everyone and draws the best players each game has to offer. Come join the ladder that matters and see if you have what it takes to be number one at www.worldogl.com.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
This ain't your grandma's station.
Still a weekend.
This is also not your little sister's station. This is your station.
Inside, support fire coming in. They launch support fire up there. Grenade, nice.
Rush up the spiral. Here they come. Uh-oh. Trouble Mouse, Humel, and a Civ in position to really kick some TK ass.
And Daler shooting him with a nice rocket as he comes out of the teleporter. 53 seconds left in this match. I don't know. It's going to be tough for him to finish it off.
Your source for the esports revolution. This is the Team Sportscast Network. Now back to Epileptic Gaming.
We are back, folks. djWHEAT and Grayscale. Short little break taken there. Station ID and whatnot. We appreciate all their help in making these shows possible. And for you, for tuning in, the listener. We just had our reviews of the Vaporware, or our Vaporware, top Vaporware of 2002, our top games of 2002. We talked a little bit about Devil May Cry, a little bit about SimCity 4, a little, that game sucked, and a little bit about Shinobi. And now it's time to hear from you, the listener. So I'm going to go ahead and give out the phone number here if you want to reach us here at Epileptic Gaming at TSN Studios in Lincoln, Nebraska. The phone number is 402-328-2689. Also, we're taking questions via IRC and, of course, via our AIM bot. That name is EGBot, like Epileptic Gaming Bot, EGBot. You know, I think so far we've had a pretty good show. Talked a little bit, about Devil May Cry. I'm not going to feel bad about returning that game at all. So,
I still want my $6 back.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I still want my $6 back.
So the graphics were good and the outdoor environments were kind of okay, but dude, I swear the lack of story and everything else in that game just made it ridiculous. So I don't know what to say about that.
Have you got to the second disc yet?
No.
Well, if you ever do, there's some storyline there, but you know, it's almost like whenever I saw them pull that kind of stunt, I almost felt like I had a Metal Gear Solid 2 flashback where it was like, huh, Raiden, what's this? You know, it kind of threw me for a loop. But whenever you get to the second one though, the second disc, I think you're gonna find that Lucia is much more fun to play as.
Really?
Than Dante is.
Well,
yeah.
But I like Dante. I like Dante so much, though. I mean, that is why I played Devil May Cry 2. I didn't say, oh, my God, this game looks badass. I said, that guy looks badass to play. I want to play him. And, you know, so even though I was like, hey, that's cool, they're adding a supplement, but you know what happened? They're like, okay, let's add this second character. And as a result, the Dante disc absolutely, you know, sucked. And I'm not an avid fan of that. You know, they like, oh, they'll think we're giving them double the content, but really you're just watering down both sides, you know, of the game. So, yeah. Open phones and IM questions and discussion are open. 402-328-2689 to reach Epileptic Gaming, the TSN studios. Any IMs, anything saying anything. I did get a comment from Daler earlier, but I actually closed it. And I don't even remember what the hell he was talking. Oh, yeah, he said he did rent Devil May Cry 2, and he's been playing it. He said he was glad he could follow along with what we were talking about. I don't know if that meant he liked it or not, but you know, he did chime in about it. Also, who was it? Scheme. He was talking about Asheron's Call 2, and he says that it is absolutely the bomb. He had a level 45 human mage in 2 weeks, and that's you know, that's pretty fast to level up. So
yeah, definitely.
I did get a message from someone who played Shadowbane, and they said that, you know, they're on the beta test, and although the graphics are pretty crappy, once you get into it, it's not that bad, and the gameplay makes up for it. So maybe that title will be better than I think it will be, but just right now, looking at screenshots, it doesn't do it for me. Yeah.
Well, the art style of it, being that it's kind of dark, it does look kind of neat, but, you know, the engine is showing its age. It's almost like you're getting to see the wrinkles on the, you know, the damn thing. So
yeah.
But it's bad. Yeah.
I got some more comments here from Lil Washu, who says that they don't think that Shadowbane will ever be able to reach the same level that EverQuest is, and they do agree the Asheron's Call 2 graphics are just stunning. They think Shadowbane is going to stay afloat for a while, but its graphics are definitely subpar, and the developers are using the classic It's About gameplay and PvP action to make up for, you know, the crappy graphics. So thank you, Lil Washu, for chiming in on that one. I agree with you 100%, but I think I'm just going to have to play it to make my final decision on that one. Definitely.
Oh man, I'm sitting over here just trying to sort through these AIM windows, so just give me a moment. I think I have some shout-outs and some questions also. So. Oh,
yeah? Well, the phones to reach us here, 402-328-2689. I'm actually surprised no one's called in yet. Detonator says UO graphics weren't that great either. But you know what? I thought UO graphics were the bomb. And in fact, if every MMORPG would have had graphics like UO, like Ultima Online, I would have played it. Because the 2D not only added so much customization to your characters, but it just flowed so nicely. I mean, think about that game. You traveled from area to area with little to no load times. And God, Ultima Online 2, I'm going to have to review that because that game is just one of my favorite games of all time. The graphics of UO were the bomb. I really do. I really do believe that. So I don't think you know too much about it. I'm trying to get Rage to call in actually. He wants to talk a little bit about Black and Bruised. Have you seen that game before?
No, I haven't actually. I've been so busy. I've been like this past week. I've been kind of out of touch with what's going on.
Working on the show and whatnot. So, yeah. Well, we definitely appreciate everyone coming in. Normally during the third hour segment, this is where we're going to have all of our open phones and open discussions. We're trying to see if Styx Rage is going to call, and I think he is. He wants to talk about a few little games. Is the Soldier of Fortune 2 coming on soon? Taken. I don't know. We're in the final hour of Epileptic Gaming. Thank you for joining us here. We will be back, and I believe this is going to be our normal time slot. However, there is a chance we might get moved around a little bit, and that's all good. But we'll find a home, and we'll be here every single day that time to talk to you about video games, consoles, arcades, the video game industry, and hopefully I will have an 800 number soon. We do have our first caller here. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, hold on 1 second. We got to turn the phone mic on. What's up?
Hey, not much. Just got back from a little football today, actually, in the snow.
Is this Rage?
This is Rage.
Yo,
yeah.
Rage. What's up? Can you hear him okay, Grayscale?
Yeah, I can hear him perfectly. He's coming through just
okay, great. So you messaged me. Well, first of all, what do you think about the show? This is our first run. We're kind of like getting into the groove. What do you think?
I think the show's going pretty well so far. I really like the I guess the commentary you guys have and the fluidity you guys have going on between the two of you. I was impressed that you were able to stretch the two top 10 lists for an hour. Not have everyone bored off their asses.
Well, we're trying our best over here. We're kind of newbies to this, but I think it's going pretty well, too. Now, you messaged me, and you said you wanted to talk a little bit about Skies of Arcadia and Black and Bruised. What do you got to say about those games?
All right, first of all, Skies of Arcadia for the Dreamcast was an excellent RPG. And when I heard it announced for the GameCube, I was pretty disappointed because they said they were just adding 5 hours of gameplay into it or so.
Right.
But I was actually impressed with the graphical changes, even though they're fairly subtle. It makes it worthwhile to go through and see all the new character special attacks and stuff like that. And I think that anyone who hasn't checked it out in the first place should definitely go down and grab that because I haven't played many RPGs through. I've actually been getting bored with a lot of them recently, and this has really kept my interest even the second time through.
Nice. Now, I've got a friend that's playing that. I haven't had a chance to, but I understand that the bounty battles are what's the hot new thing for this game. Not only do they have the new character, but the bounty battles, they're supposed to be like harder than the boss battles. And
right.
have you encountered any of these?
No, I haven't actually. I've been playing it off and on with a friend of mine. He might have done it, but no, I haven't gotten through any of those yet, so I can't give you any info there.
But they did add a new character.
Right.
Right, and they did improve the graphics. I also understand they lowered the random battle encounters, which was my biggest complaint.
I really never had a problem with it in the first one. Everyone I talked to did, though. But when I was playing it through, I had that in mind because that's what every review talked about.
Right.
It's really a lot better.
I thought it was pretty bad. I don't know, Grayscale, did you play the Skies of Arcadia at all for the Dreamcast?
Yeah, I actually did. That game was that was whenever the Dreamcast was still in its heyday. I mean, to me, it's still in its heyday, but that's because I'm a video game dork. But aside from that, I had so much fun with that thing. It wasn't even funny. I had heard about the game, and I was kind of like, I'll play it whenever I get around to it, because I was too busy playing all sorts of other games the import of Capcom versus SNK 2.
Right.
Because I was a big fighting gamer back then, and the Dreamcast was great for fighting games. But when I played Skies of Arcadia, it was fun to actually see an RPG that actually kept my interest and stuff like that. Because on the topic of RPGs, I always find myself like Rage had said, getting bored of what was going on and whatnot. So it's good to see some level of
some change, right?
Kind of coming
back
into it. Yeah.
So Rage, also you wanted to talk a little bit about Black and Bruised. Did you play that?
Well, I've actually a friend of mine who's much more into the GameCube than I am. He's been hyping it up for so long, and I obviously hadn't heard anything about it. Probably most of the people in IRC and listening right now had never heard of it. It's a title developed by a company that honestly I can't recall the name of right now, that I had never played anything by them before. But I thought that after reading the reviews on IGN, seeing some videos, it looked like a really mediocre fighting game that used boxing as its, basically their styles.
Right.
Because it was more, you have your regular boxing elements, but it's a very, it's very combo oriented, and there's power ups and stuff like that, which made it more like a fighting game. It was less, it was supposed to be. They claim that it was recreating the Mike Tyson's Punch Out feel.
Okay, now let me ask you something. Is it 2D or is it 3D? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures, and I want to say it's 2D, but I don't want to be wrong.
It's 3D, but it's got really amazing cell shading. is at least the way I look at it. It is technically a cel-shaded game, but the graphics on it really blew me away after I, actually put the disc in and played it.
Nice.
Backgrounds are very, I guess everything about it is 3D. The backgrounds look 2D because of obviously when you're cel-shading stuff that's not modeled, it's going to be mainly 2D.
Right. But that's for the PS2 and definitely a title that at least people should check out. Oh, GameCube. Okay.
Yeah, well, I guess the thing that really stands out in my eyes is that the single-player aspect of fighting games in the past has been a real letdown. Like, for example, Tekken 3, Tekken Tag, you play it through and you just have to fight the same guys over and over again and you get an ending movie, right?
Right.
In some cases it's 30 seconds up to 2 minutes or whatnot. But they have what's called Boxer's Life, which for each of I think there's about 24 characters or so.
Right.
Like that. For each one, it has 6 separate unique cinematics that are about 2 to 3 minutes long each. So, and they're hilarious. It's a very humorous game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
well,
and it really kept me playing. I probably played it for maybe 12 hours, 13 hours the first day, just doing the Boxer's Life with my friend. And for a college student, that's not that easy to do. But that's how piqued my interest was.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to have to check that game out. I think you've definitely interested me on that one. So, anything coming out that you're looking forward to here, whether it be PC or console?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to the Dungeons and Dragons game now that's coming out on I think all 3 systems, and I think it's called Dungeons and Dragons Heroes.
I think it is.
Which one?
I read a review of it today on IGN and also on GameSpot, and it looked really nice.
Nice. Well, I don't know, and I'm still waiting for Command & Conquer to come out. I'd like to check that one out. But Dark Cloud 2.
Can I throw out a question real quick?
What's your question, Grayscale?
I wanted to know if Rage was excited about Xenosaga at all.
Oh yeah, Xenosaga. Are you excited about that, Rage?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I was not a fan of Xenogears.
Oh.
Mainly because I didn't give it a full, a good play cycle.
Yeah.
And so
I'm
actually
you'll
really
give this one a chance, right?
Because I didn't play the first one, so I'm going to have to go back and play the first one real quick and then get the second one down.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, the first one was definitely different. I mean, for a Square game, a lot of people were like, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
But kind of like the same feeling you get when you play Front Mission for the first time. But I'm looking forward to it. The whole we've got to edit things out because the United States audience is not ready for the things in this game. They've had to do that twice now with Xenogears and now Xenosaga, and I just think that's a little ridiculous. Give us the game and let us play it. We're all mature adults here, I
agree.
Never really like that. So did you have any things to say about our top 10 list? I know that you were saying there was at least one title on there that we didn't mention that you sounded like you were a huge fan of.
Well, I guess first of all, Dead to Rights was not something I was looking forward to. It actually looked really stupid, but I thought some of the concepts introduced in it, although they were controversial, I thought it was really cool to play through when you go up and disarm your enemy with a neck break and then use them as a hostage to shield all the bullets that are shot at you. That at least kept the game interesting for me. But I thought the storyline wasn't too great, but the action was nice, and they really weren't afraid to challenge you,
Right.
It was a pretty difficult game.
Well, I didn't really play that one. I kind of heard some mixed reviews, but Animal Crossing you had also mentioned. Sounds like you're a huge fan of that game.
Because even though I've never played it, I've watched probably 10 hours of play time on it from various friends of mine who all have their own towns, and they go back and swap out memory cards all the time and visit each other's towns, play all the games. And there's just so much you can do that it's I thought it was up there. You don't see games nowadays that are single player and just have endless content. Now,
the problem we had with it, with my girlfriend and I, is that there's no 2-player interactiveness. So I wanted to play it, she wanted to play it, we had to switch off, and then, I can go to her town and dig up all her fossils, and, it's like I could take her stuff out of the door. So it's kind of like we were almost like we needed 2 GameCubes to play this because it just got way out of hand. But we picked up like an e-reader, and I haven't gotten my hands on any of the Series 2 cards yet. But I'm looking forward. I think Animal Crossing 2 could quite possibly be a huge title.
Now, I haven't read up much on it, but did they say whether it would be online or not?
Well, that's the big rumor that's being thrown around about it, and I think it's more or less kind of like, I don't know if you played Sims Online, but when you're online, then your city is online and people can come to it and whatnot. Right. So I think a little bit of those aspects with the whole, collecting of items and doing all the different things around your ground. So good stuff. I don't know. It's going to be a while before we see it, but.
Well, I mean, if it's online, they'll probably introduce some sort of feature where you could go in and spread herpes to another village and all that. So if they bring that in, then I'm definitely checking it out.
Oh, man, that's funny.
God.
All right, well, do you have any shout-outs?
Will come out of their caves.
No, actually, I don't. I was requested to do one by someone, but he's not worthy of it, so I got nothing. Just you guys keep up the good work here. I'm impressed so far.
All right, thanks a lot, Rage. We appreciate you calling in. Have a good night. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, that's very interesting. The callers can't hear Grayscale, so good game, Wheat.
Yeah, it's a good game indeed, dork. No, I'm just kidding.
The number to reach us here, we've got a little bit of time left, 402-328-2689. Rage, again, thank you for calling in. Appreciate your opinions on the games and your opinions on the show. Some good stuff. You can also aim djBOHEAT, and if you got any questions about the games we've reviewed, we're getting ready to kind of wrap up our first show. How's it been? How's it felt, Grayscale?
It was pretty much downhill after I was John Carmack. I mean, I can't really lower myself any lower than being John Carmack with a nasally voice like this, acting like I'm typing C code and making renders I really had nowhere else to go but up after that whole entire bad impersonation. But overall, the show, I thought, went pretty well.
Good deal.
No complaints here at all.
Good deal. Well, just waiting for a caller, 402-328-2689 or djBOHEAT on the IM. Thank you for tuning in tonight on the Team Sportscast Network. Woo!
Okay, I got a couple shout-outs here.
Okay.
I got to give a couple shout-outs to the AHA guys, Fallen Angel and the Rickster. He's been hitting me up on instant message, and I lost the first time whenever he had mentioned it. He's like, come on, give me a shout-out. And I closed the window until I finally got everything all tabbed into one window instead of having like a million windows on my screen. So, yeah, definite shout-outs to him, and thanks for listening to the show. Really appreciate it.
I've got some somewhat bad news. It seems like there is a championship Soldier of Fortune 2 match that we are being trumped on. And I don't know. I guess they think that, I'm not even going to go there. So I'll tell you what, we'll take a little break here, and we're going to be switching streams. Everyone, big appreciation for tuning in to our first show of Epileptic Gaming. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to go ahead and go to a little music here, and we will be going offline. Thank you, everyone. Grayscale, any shouts before we take off here? Next, we'll announce the next time and the next date of the next show, but this one will also be archived. Actually, why don't you give a shout-out for the wrap-up sheet, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, the wrap-up sheet can be found at gray.ls3.net/wrap-up. I'll type the address in IRC for you people to pick up. I want to give a shout-out to all of our listeners that listened to our first show. You guys are the ones that started this, and hopefully we'll get, more listeners, and we can make this bigger and better for you guys to listen to. Shout out. I got to give a shout out to Bacon because he asked me to give him one. He wants me to say bacon is yummy. But yeah, that was probably the gayest thing I could have ever said, but that's okay. Shouts out to TSN for actually putting me on and letting the show go through. I really appreciate, you actually getting some kind of trust, even, and being put on without any kind of big to-do about it.
Well, and we appreciate it, and I'm sure the listeners do. I hate to cut this short, but we're getting a lot of flack. We're not good enough. They're giving us the white hook. This is djWHEAT and Grayscale, and we'll see you next time on Epileptic Gaming. Our final song is called G2, and it comes from B-Mania DX2, right?
The 2DX, yeah.
Or 2DX. Oh, where's my head?
Yeah.
All right, peace, everyone. We'll see you next time.
DDR, that's where it is.